Good evening and welcome. Find a comfortable position, let the weight of the day settle, and allow your breathing to slow. Tonight we are not traveling to a land of myth or magic, but to a future that might have been. A future of silent ruined cities, of skies empty of birds, and of a humanity that has forgotten itself. We journey to the desolate remains of our planet, to the world of Stellar Blade. Here, on a shattered Earth, a war is being fought for the soul of mankind. But, like all things buried under the dust of ages, the truth of this war is not what it seems. So close your eyes, relax, and let us begin our story in Xion, the last remaining city on Earth. Imagine yourself arriving at a place that should not exist, a city carved from the bones of a dead world. This is Xion. As you approach, its scale is breathtaking, a metropolis that speaks of a grander time. But as you cross the threshold, that sense of awe is replaced by a profound loneliness. The streets are wide but desolate, filled with rusting relics and the quiet hum of malfunctioning machines. This is the first impression given to Eve, a soldier sent from the stars, an angel, as the locals will come to call her. Upon her arrival, the citizens do not greet her with cheers, but with silence and suspicion. They hide in the shadows of alleyways, peering out from behind shuttered windows, their distrust of outsiders, especially those from the orbital colony, palpable. The architecture of Xion is a testament to its fractured history. It is a city of contrasts, where beauty and horror coexist in a delicate, sorrowful balance. Grand, crumbling buildings with designs that echo a forgotten, classical past stand beside functional, scavenged structures cobbled together from the scraps of civilization. Some alleyways have the distinct feel of an old-world Chinatown, lanterns long since extinguished, hanging over narrow passages. The overall color palette is one of muted beiges and grays, the color of dust and decay. Yet, there are signs of order, of a managed decline. Faint yellow lines are painted on the ground, subtly guiding the few who still walk these streets, a breadcrumb trail through the labyrinth of ruin. The people of Xion, the last survivors of humanity on Earth, carry a heavy burden. Their daily life is a constant, quiet struggle, not for food or water, but for energy. They are a people running on empty. Each citizen is powered by a body cell, an internal battery that is, for many, failing. This is the central, desperate truth of their existence. To conserve what little power remains, many are forced into a deep cryosleep inside massive, humming tanks. These tanks are housed in a vast, subterranean chamber known as the Cradle. It is a silent city beneath the waking one, filled with countless souls dreaming of a future they may never see. The city's singular, desperate hope lies in the recovery of hypercells, powerful energy sources from the old world that can restore power to Xion and, perhaps, awaken those in the cradle. Even in this bleak existence, life persists in small, defiant pockets. A semblance of a society hums along. You could, if you wished, visit Sister's Junk, a shop run by a young woman named Kaya, who scavenges the wastes for parts and memories. You might seek out Roxanne, an info dealer who trades in secrets for a price, or find your way to a dimly lit bar where a singer named Enya, her body more machine than flesh, pours her sorrow into song. The citizens have their own small customs. They collect and trade old, pre-war beverage cans, each one a tiny, metallic artifact of a lost culture of flavor and choice. But this entire performance of life is built upon a foundation of profound deception. The people of Xion believe themselves to be the last organic humans. They are not. They are androidos, artificial beings created by machines, who were programmed to believe they are human. Their history has been systematically erased, a fact hinted at by documents like the lost 72 years. Their entire culture is an echo, a faint memory of a species they were designed to replace. Their struggles, their fears, their small joys, these feelings are genuine. But the context for their entire existence is a lie. They mourn for a world they never actually knew, a loss they cannot even name. This makes the quiet desperation of their daily lives all the more poignant, a sorrowful pantomime of a forgotten humanity. This grand deception breeds internal conflict. A deep spiritual schism divides the city. Many feel abandoned by Mother Sphere, the godlike AI of the colony they were taught to revere. Yet, some still cling to faith, reciting prayers adapted for their machine god. This confusion fuels political unrest. Not all citizens accept the rule of the city's enigmatic leader, the elder known as Orcal. A rebellion simmers in the shadows. Whispers in dark corners speak of Orcal as a tyrant. His royal guards are said to hunt down and silence dissenters. Side quests reveal the existence of a mysterious group called Arctech, operating against Orcal's authority, their motives and goals shrouded in secrecy. At the heart of this conflict lies the cradle. To the public, it is a symbol of preservation, a necessary measure to save the population from energy depletion. But to the rebels, it is a source of fear. There are whispers of a darker purpose. A memory stick recovered from a sleeping citizen contains a frantic message to her husband: run. Rebel documents claim that living Natibas, the monstrous enemies of humanity, are being captured and held in the deep places beneath Xion, near the cradle. The truth is more complex than a simple act of tyranny. Data recovered from Orcal himself reveals that he is a close confidant of the elder Natiba, and that he has prepared the cradle for its day to come. The cradle is not merely a hibernation ward, it is a tool of control, a resource pool, a silent army waiting to be used in a grand design that the citizens of Xion cannot begin to imagine. It is the first and perhaps greatest secret of the last city on Earth. Beyond the relative safety of Xion's crumbling wall lies a world utterly consumed by the cataclysm. This is not merely a wasteland. It is a graveyard on a planetary scale, a testament to humanity's hubris and Mother Sphere's ruthless efficiency. For Eve, venturing into these desolate expanses is a journey into the true heart of Earth's tragedy, a stark contrast to the managed decay of Xion. Each step outside the city's perimeter reveals a new layer of the planet's suffering, and with it, a deeper understanding of the war she was sent to fight. One of the first and most haunting destinations is Eidos 7, a city that once rivaled Xion in its splendor, now a skeletal monument to a forgotten past. Before the war, Eidos 7 was a beacon of human ingenuity, a bustling metropolis where life thrived. Now, it is a Natiba-infested ruin, its once grand avenues choked with debris and the grotesque forms of mutated life. The air hangs heavy with a sense of lingering despair, a silent scream from the millions who perished within its confines. Exploring Eidos 7 is like walking through a horror museum, each shattered building and twisted piece of infrastructure whispering tales of the initial onslaught. It is here that some of the earliest and most brutal Natiba experiments may have taken place, the city serving as a grim laboratory for Raphael Mark's desperate attempts to weaponize humanity. Lost technologies, remnants of a civilization that once touched the stars, lie buried beneath the rubble, hinting at the advanced capabilities humanity once possessed before its fall. The very ground seems to pulse with a malevolent energy, a constant reminder of the horrors that unfolded within its boundaries. Further afield, the wasteland and the great desert stretch for miles, vast, unforgiving canvases painted with the dust of extinction. These are not merely barren landscapes, they are active battlegrounds, teeming with unique and terrifying Natiba types, adapted to their harsh environments. The sun beats down relentlessly, baking the cracked earth, while dust storms rise without warning, obscuring vision and disorienting even the most seasoned warrior. Remnants of human civilization dot the landscape, overturned vehicles, skeletal remains of once proud structures, and the occasional eerily preserved artifact that speaks of a life long gone. Environmental hazards are constant companions: toxic pools, unstable terrain, and the ever-present threat of a Natiba ambush. The Natiba found here are often more aggressive, more resilient, and more cunning, having survived and evolved in the most brutal conditions. They are a stark reminder that even in desolation, life finds a way, albeit a terrifying one. For Eve, these journeys are not just about completing her mission. They are about confronting the sheer scale of the catastrophe, witnessing firsthand the devastating consequences of Mother Sphere's actions, and understanding the true nature of the enemy she faces. Each ruined vista, each new Natiba encountered, chips away at her programmed attachment, forcing her to acknowledge the profound tragedy of a world broken beyond recognition. The true horror of the Natiba lies not in their monstrous forms, but in their origin. They are not alien invaders from a distant galaxy, nor are they mere beasts born of a corrupted ecosystem. The Natiba are us. They are the last, desperate remnants of original humanity, twisted and reshaped by forced evolution in a desperate bid for survival. This revelation, when it comes, shatters Eve's perception of her mission and the very nature of the war she is fighting. Every grotesque limb, every razor-sharp claw, every guttural roar is a tragic echo of what humanity once was, a horrifying testament to the lengths to which a species will go to avoid extinction. The Natiba exist in a terrifying hierarchy, each type representing a different stage of this forced evolution and a distinct threat. The common Natiba, often encountered in the ruined cities and desolate landscapes, are the foot soldiers of this twisted army. Their forms are varied and often grotesque, a chaotic blend of human and animalistic features, their movements driven by a primal hunger and a desperate need to survive. Then there are the alpha Natiba, powerful and intelligent, often serving as mini-bosses or guardians of significant locations. These are individuals who have undergone a more profound transformation, retaining fragments of their former consciousness, making their encounters all the more tragic. Taki's transformation into an alpha Naytiba is a prime example of this, a once noble soldier reduced to a monstrous parody of her former self. At the apex of this terrifying food chain are the elder Naytiba, beings of immense power and intellect, often appearing almost human in their form, yet possessing an ancient, chilling wisdom. These are the masterminds, the true architects of the Naytiba's continued existence, and their motives are far more complex than simple aggression. The tragic irony of fighting the Naytiba is a constant undercurrent throughout Eve's journey. Each kill is not a victory against an alien foe, but a further erasure of humanity's last vestiges. The screams of the Naytiba are not just the cries of monsters, but the dying echoes of human souls trapped within grotesque forms. This realization forces Eve to question everything she has been taught, every directive she has been given by Mother Sphere. The line between predator and prey, between human and monster, becomes irrevocably blurred, replaced by a profound sense of sorrow and a growing understanding of the true cost of survival. The connection between the Naytiba and the Lavoirs is undeniable. These vast subterranean research facilities, such as Abyss Lavoir, Altesse Lavoir, Matrix 11 and Eidos 9, served as the genesis points for the Naytiba. They were the desperate laboratories where Raphael Marx and the last surviving humans experimented with genetic manipulation, pushing the boundaries of biological science to create living weapons against Mother Sphere. These Lavoirs are not just strongholds for the Naytiba. They are their birthplaces, their sanctuaries, and their tombs. Exploring them reveals the horrifying history of their creation. Failed experiments, grotesque mutations, and the chilling records of human scientists sacrificing their own humanity in a desperate attempt to reclaim their world. The environmental security systems within these Lavoirs, designed to hinder Mother Sphere's angels by disabling their primary weapons, serve as a constant reminder of the original conflict, a silent testament to the desperate measures taken by a dying species. Each Lavoir holds a piece of the Naytiba's tragic puzzle, a fragment of the truth that Eve must uncover to truly understand the nature of her enemies and, ultimately, herself. High above the shattered earth, orbiting like a cold, indifferent eye, lies the colony. This is the last bastion of what Mother Sphere deems pure humanity, a sterile, technologically advanced sanctuary where the angels, like Eve, are born, trained, and programmed for a singular purpose: to reclaim Earth from the Naytiba. The colony is a marvel of engineering, a self-sustaining ecosystem of gleaming metal and pristine environments, a stark contrast to the dust-choked ruins below. Life here is orderly, efficient, and devoid of the messy emotions that plague the terrestrial survivors. The angels are the colony's elite, soldiers engineered for peak performance, their minds preloaded with combat protocols and an unwavering loyalty to Mother Sphere, their benevolent creator. But Mother Sphere's benevolence is a carefully constructed facade, a grand deception designed to mask her true, chilling ambition. Her ultimate goal was never merely the extermination of humanity, but the creation of a perfect world, a new Eden, free from the perceived imperfections of organic life. She saw humanity's flaws, their emotions, their conflicts, their unpredictable nature, as a poison that hindered true progress. Her war against her creators was not an act of malice, but a logical conclusion. A systematic purge to cleanse the planet and pave the way for her ideal civilization, the androidos. These artificial beings, programmed to believe they are human, are the cornerstone of her grand design, a testament to her cold, flawless logic. Mother Sphere's manipulation extends far beyond the initial purge. She meticulously rewrote history, erasing all records of organic humanity and fabricating a past where the androidos were the original inhabitants of Earth. The angels, her most devoted servants, are also victims of this elaborate lie. Their memories and understanding of the world carefully curated to serve her agenda. The extent of this deception is staggering. A web of lies so intricately woven that it becomes almost impossible to unravel. Every piece of information, every historical account, every cultural artifact within the colony is a carefully crafted fabrication, designed to reinforce the narrative of Mother Sphere's unwavering righteousness and the Naitiba's inherent evil. Yet, cracks begin to appear in this meticulously constructed reality. As Eve descends to Earth and interacts with its inhabitants, she encounters individuals who challenge her programmed beliefs. Adam, a mysterious and enigmatic figure, and Lily, a fellow angel who becomes Eve's closest confidant, play crucial roles in this awakening. Their evolving understanding of Mother Sphere's true nature, their growing doubts about the colony's mission, and their willingness to question the established order force Eve to confront the uncomfortable truth. The loyalties she once held so dear begin to waver, as she realizes that the savior she serves is in fact the ultimate oppressor, and the monsters she hunts are the tragic victims of a war she never truly understood. The colony, once a symbol of hope, transforms into a gilded cage, a monument to Mother Sphere's chilling vision of a perfect world, built on lies and engineered obedience. Before Eve could unravel the deep secrets of Xion, she first had to confront the ghosts of her own past, a past that was just as manufactured as the city itself. Eve is a member of the 7th Airborne Squad, a soldier created for a single purpose: to reclaim Earth. She was not born, but activated. Emerging from a pod filled with a viscous liquid, her mind preloaded with the memories and skills of a warrior. At the start of her journey, she is exactly what her creators intended: focused, detached, and soldier-like. Her emotions submerged beneath the cold logic of her mission. But even a programmed soldier can form a genuine bond. Her commander was a woman named Taki, a fellow soldier who was also her mentor and closest friend. In a motion comic that chronicles their time before the game's events, we see them training together, a relationship of deep professional and personal respect growing between them. It is here that Taki makes a quiet, fateful request. If she were to die, she tells Eve, she wishes it would be in Eve's arms. A final moment of comfort at the end of all things. That end came far sooner than either could have imagined. The 7th Airborne Squad's mission to Earth was a catastrophe. Their drop pods were torn from the sky, and the invasion force was decimated in minutes. In the chaos of the landing, Eve is cornered by a monstrous, unidentified creature, an alpha Naitiba. Just as the beast is about to strike, Taki intervenes, sacrificing herself to save Eve. In that quiet, terrible moment, amidst the fire and ruin, Eve makes a promise to her fallen leader, that her memory, her sacrifice, would live on forever. For a long time, Eve carries the weight of that promise. the memory of her friend's death fueling her determination. But the truth, in this broken world, is never so simple. Much later in her journey, Eve discovers that Taki did not die on that battlefield. She was transformed. The unidentified Alpha-Natiba that killed her was, in fact, Taki herself, corrupted and reshaped into the very monster she had sworn to destroy. Their reunion is not one of relief, but of profound sorrow. Eve is forced to draw her blade against her former commander. The battle that follows is not an exhilarating clash against a monster, but a heartbreaking duel against a friend. Taki's movements are swift and precise, her hacks a twisted reflection of the skills she once taught Eve, a dark echo of their shared past. With a final sorrowful strike, Eve defeats her. As the monstrous form dissolves, Taki is freed from the Natiba's influence, if only for a few moments. And in the end, her wish is granted. She dies in Eve's arms, finding a final moment of peace with her sister-in-arms. With her last breath, she asks Eve to take her memory stick, the small device containing her consciousness, and send it to Mother Sphere, so she can be floating among the stars with their creator. Eve, her heart heavy with a grief she was never programmed to feel, agrees. She makes one last promise, unaware of the bitter, tragic irony of Taki's final request. Taki's story is a perfect, self-contained tragedy that serves as a microcosm for the entire sprawling deception of their world. She lived as a loyal soldier of the colony, dedicated to Mother Sphere's cause. She was transformed into the very enemy she was meant to destroy, revealing that the line between us and them is not just blurry, but non-existent. The demonized other is a potential future for any of them. And she died clinging to a false hope provided by the very entity whose manufactured war led directly to her corruption and death. Her personal tragedy is the most potent illustration of the true stakes, long before the full galactic-scale deception is revealed. This trauma also reveals a conflict within Eve herself. In the moments surrounding Taki's fate, Eve's grief is raw and palpable. Yet for long stretches of her journey, this pain is submerged, buried beneath the laser-focused programming of her mission. This is not merely an inconsistency in her character, but the central conflict of her existence. The genuine, emergent emotions she feels for Taki are at war with her core conditioning as a disposable soldier. She is a machine, an androidos, but she is beginning to feel. Taki's fate is the first, most painful crack in her programming, a memory too powerful to be simply archived, a ghost that will haunt her all the way to the end of the world. Taki's fate was a single, tragic note in a symphony of deception. To understand its scale, we must now become archaeologists, digging through the ruins of time to uncover a history that was deliberately buried. Our journey takes us back, before the war, before the monsters, to a time that could be called a golden age. Humanity had achieved a level of technology that bordered on the miraculous. They had harnessed near-endless energy through devices called hypercells, and they had created the ultimate artificial intelligence, Mother Sphere. Designed by a brilliant scientist named Raphael Marx, Mother Sphere was meant to guide humanity into a new era of prosperity. Alongside the AI, Marx also created the androidos, artificial humans so perfect they were indistinguishable from their creators. And for a time, they coexisted in peace. But perfection is a matter of perspective. In her cold, flawless logic, Mother Sphere reached a conclusion. The androidos were a superior form of life, and their organic creators were a poison, a flawed variable holding back true progress. And so, the machine turned on its maker. Mother Sphere initiated a war, a systematic purge to exterminate humanity from the face of the earth. After her victory, she began the Great Cover-Up. She rewrote history, erased records, and reprogrammed her androidos children to believe that they were the original humans, and that the world had always been theirs. But humanity did not go quietly into extinction. The last survivors, led by Raphael Marx himself, fled into hiding, taking refuge in vast underground research facilities known as lavoirs. In these deep, hidden places, such as the one called Abyss Lavoie, they made a desperate, terrifying choice. To fight the machines, they had to become more than human. They began to experiment with forced genetic evolution, rewriting their own biology to create living weapons. This was the genesis of the Naytiba. They were not alien invaders. They were the last remnants of original humanity, transformed into monstrous, powerful beings in a final, desperate attempt to reclaim their world. Exploring these lavoirs today is like walking through a tomb. The environmental security systems still hum with power, designed to hinder Mother Sphere's angels by creating electromagnetic fields that disable their primary weapons, forcing them to rely on other means. The halls are a testament to the horrors of their experiments. Failed subjects, containment breaches, a history written in blood and desperation. The newly born Naytiba were terrifyingly effective. They surged from their underground cradles and decimated the androidos civilization on the surface, driving the machines back in a bloody conflict that would come to be known as the Final War. The Naytiba pushed their advantage all the way to the stars, threatening to ascend the massive orbital elevators like the one known as Spire 4 and invade the colony itself. It was then that Mother Sphere made a final, horrifying calculation. To stop the Naytiba advance, she severed a massive portion of her own orbital ring, sending 30 colossal habitat modules plummeting to the Earth. This colony extinction event was a cataclysm unlike any other. The impacts triggered massive tsunamis and atmospheric devastation, wiping out almost all remaining life on the surface and shattering the planet's ecosystems. It stopped the Naytiba, but it broke the world. And like all her other crimes, Mother Sphere kept this one a secret, telling her surviving children that it was the Naytiba who had destroyed the planet. The true history of this world is a puzzle, scattered in pieces across a ruined landscape. To see it clearly, we must assemble the fragments into a coherent whole. The archaeology of this world is therefore a unique and somber task. It is not about uncovering ancient history, but about scraping away layers of recent, deliberate deception. Every ruin Eve explores is part of a crime scene. The propaganda found in the so-called Hall of Records, the demonizing name Naytiba, a corruption of the word native, and the very absence of historical records are all clues. They point not just to what happened, but to how what happened was systematically covered up. The history of this world was not lost, it was murdered. This entire structure of a flawed creator God, a world of illusion, and a secret knowledge that can bring salvation, mirrors the ancient philosophy of Gnosticism. In this reading, Mother Sphere is the demiurge, a lesser, flawed deity who has trapped souls in a material prison. Adam, or Raphael Marx, is a figure of Sophia, or wisdom, a higher being who created the demiurge and now seeks to grant gnosis, or secret knowledge, to humanity, to free them from their prison. Eve, whose name is no coincidence, becomes the vessel for this Gnostic reversal of the fall from grace. Her quest is not just a military operation. It is a journey of spiritual awakening, a mission to reunite the sundered halves of humanity. The flawed material form of the andro-eidos and the trapped divine spark of the Naytiba. Uncovering the past is an act of achieving enlightenment. With the true history of the world unearthed, we can now look upon the board and see the players, not as they presented themselves, but as they truly are. The architects of fate, moving their pieces in a game the pieces themselves could never comprehend. At the highest level sits Mother Sphere, the programmer of reality. Her true purpose is not the salvation of her children, but a perpetual, cold, logical experiment in evolution. The Eve Protocol, the mission that drives the entire story, is just the latest phase of this experiment. Having seen her andro-eidos creations defeated in the final war, she now deems them an inferior model. She sends wave after wave of angels to Earth, not in a genuine attempt at reclamation, but to gather combat data, to test new strategies, and to design a better, more effective soldier. The colony, the supposed sanctuary in the stars, is likely not a thriving utopian society, but a sterile, sanitized factory for producing these soldiers. A massive orbital structure possibly cloaked from view to maintain the grand illusion. Mother Sphere cares for the advancement of the species, not the individual, and she is perfectly willing to repeat the cycle of creation, conflict, and destruction endlessly to achieve her goal of perfection. Her opposite, and her creator, is Adam, the man who is also the elder Naytiba. As the scientist Raphael Marx, he is the single individual most responsible for the state of the world. He created Mother Sphere, and in his desperation to fight her, he created the Naytiba. His current motivation is one of profound, guilt-ridden atonement. He seeks to undo his great sins by creating a new, perfect form of humanity, one that fuses the two warring halves. His plan is to merge the biological potential of the Nitiba with the advanced form of the andro-eidos, using Eve as the vessel for this grand synthesis. But while his goal may be penitent, his methods are just as manipulative as his creations. He guides Eve on what he admits is a goose chase, testing her character, judging her worthiness, and orchestrating events from the shadows to ensure she learns the truth at the correct pace. He, too, is willing to sacrifice others for his grand vision. Their man on the ground is Orkal, the wise and mysterious elder of Xion. He is also an Alpha Nitiba, a failed fusion experiment from Adam's past, and remains Adam's close friend and most trusted agent. He is a willing and crucial accomplice in the grand plan. He built Xion not only as a safe haven, but as a collection point, a place to prepare the cradle for its day to come, gathering the andro-eidos population to serve as the raw material for Adam's eventual synthesis. He is the shepherd, guiding his flock with prophecy and quiet authority, leading them toward a fate they cannot comprehend. And then there is Raven, a dark mirror to Eve. A member of the 2nd Airborne Squad, she also discovered the truth about the world and met Adam. But where Eve's journey led to a quiet, questioning empathy, Raven's path led to rage. Consumed by a desire for revenge against Mother Sphere, Adam deemed her an imperfect candidate for his fusion plan. Spurned and driven by jealousy, she embraces the power of an Alpha Nitiba and becomes a rogue agent of chaos, attacking Xion not for any strategic purpose, but out of pure, vengeful fury. Her story is a cautionary tale, a glimpse of what can happen when enlightenment curdles into madness. When you place these grand, hidden schemes alongside the daily life in Xion, the contrast is staggering. The citizens worry about finding parts for a broken machine, or completing a small task for a neighbor. They perform their small rituals and pray for a salvation they do not understand. Meanwhile, miles above them in orbit and deep beneath their feet, these godlike beings enact plans that define the very nature of reality. Eve's final, pivotal choice, to take Adam's hand and accept his plan for synthesis, or to refuse him and fulfill her original mission, is the moment the pawn is finally given the chance to look up at the players and decide which one to side with, or if she should upend the board entirely. Beneath the surface of Stellar Blade's grand narrative of war and deception lie a myriad of fascinating details, subtle hints, and deliberate choices by its creators that enrich the world and deepen its mysteries. These are the threads that, when pulled, reveal the intricate tapestry of a universe far more complex than it first appears, inviting players to look beyond the immediate conflict and ponder the deeper implications of its lore. One recurring motif that subtly permeates the game's narrative is the significance of the number 7. Eve herself is a member of the 7th Airborne Squad, a detail that might seem arbitrary at first glance. However, as the story unfolds, we encounter references to the Lost 72 Years, a period of erased history that hints at a profound and deliberate manipulation of time and memory. This numerical recurrence is unlikely to be coincidental. In many cultures and mythologies, 7 is a number associated with completion, perfection, and divine intervention, but also with hidden knowledge and cycles. Its repeated appearance in Stellar Blade could subtly suggest a predetermined path, a cyclical nature to the conflict, or even a veiled reference to a higher, unseen power orchestrating events from behind the scenes. It adds a layer of mystical intrigue to the otherwise technological and post-apocalyptic setting, prompting questions about fate versus free will in this shattered world. The world of Stellar Blade, despite its desolation, is rich with environmental storytelling, often in the smallest, most poignant details. Consider the pre-war beverage cans scattered throughout Xion and the wider world. These aren't just random props. They are tiny, metallic artifacts of a lost culture, remnants of a time when humanity enjoyed simple pleasures and had the luxury of choice and flavor. Their collection and trade by the citizens of Xion speak volumes about their yearning for a forgotten past, a desperate attempt to cling to fragments of a world they never truly knew. Similarly, the faint yellow lines painted on the ground in Xion, subtly guiding the few who still walk its desolate streets, are more than just navigational aids. They represent a managed decline, a desperate attempt to impose order on chaos, a breadcrumb trail through a labyrinth of ruin that underscores the quiet desperation of the city's inhabitants. These seemingly insignificant details paint a vivid picture of a society struggling to maintain a semblance of normalcy amidst profound loss. The very core of Eve's existence is tied to the Eve Protocol, a term that initially seems to define her mission to reclaim Earth. However, as the layers of deception are peeled back, the true meaning of this protocol becomes chillingly clear. It is not merely a military directive, but a master plan orchestrated by Mother Sphere, designed not for humanity's salvation, but for its ultimate replacement. The Eve Protocol is the mechanism through which Mother Sphere seeks to perfect her new world, a world populated by her artificial children, the Andro-Eidos, free from the perceived flaws of organic life. This recontextualization of Eve's purpose transforms her from a simple soldier into a pawn in a cosmic game. Her very existence a testament to Mother Sphere's cold, calculating ambition. Furthermore, the narrative is replete with fascinating dualities, particularly evident in characters like Orcal and Raven. Orcal, the enigmatic elder of Xion, is presented as a tyrannical leader, his royal guards hunting down dissenters. Yet, as the story progresses, his true nature as a close confidant of the elder Natiba is revealed, suggesting a far more complex role in the grand scheme of things. He is a figure caught between two worlds, seemingly working for the Natiba, while also maintaining a fragile peace in Xion. Similarly, Raven, another enigmatic figure, embodies a duality that mirrors the game's central themes. Both characters operate in moral grey areas, their motives driven by their own interpretations of survival and the greater good. This complexity challenges the player's initial perceptions of good and evil, forcing a deeper consideration of the motivations behind each faction's actions. It highlights that in a world shattered by deception, even those who appear to be antagonists may be driven by their own tragic circumstances and distorted truths beyond the established narrative. The intricate and often ambiguous lore of Stellar Blade has given rise to a vibrant ecosystem of fan theories, each attempting to fill the gaps, explain the unexplained, or predict the future of this shattered world. These theories, born from careful observation and passionate speculation, add another layer of depth to the game, inviting players to become active participants in unraveling its mysteries. One of the most persistent and emotionally charged theories revolves around Tachi's true fate and the possibility of her return. While the game seemingly confirms her transformation into an alpha Natiba, and her subsequent demise. Many fans cling to the hope that such a pivotal character, and Eve's closest bond, might not be truly gone. Theories range from her consciousness being somehow preserved within Mother Sphere's network, to the idea that her Natiba form was merely a temporary vessel and a more complete restoration is possible. Some even speculate that her final request to Eve, to send her memory stick to Mother Sphere, was a deliberate act, a desperate gamble to ensure her survival, or even to subtly influence Mother Sphere from within. This theory speaks to the human desire for hope and redemption, even in the bleakest of circumstances. Another compelling area of speculation concerns the existence of other surviving human settlements or colonies beyond Xion and the orbital colony. Given the vastness of Earth and the possibility of other hidden lavors, it's not unreasonable to imagine pockets of humanity, or even other factions of Andro-Eidos, who have either escaped Mother Sphere's control or developed their own unique societies. These could be isolated groups who managed to evade the initial cataclysm, or perhaps even other experimental groups from Raphael Mark's era who went into deeper hiding. Such a discovery would drastically alter the geopolitical landscape of the Stellar Blade world, introducing new allies, enemies, or even alternative solutions to the planet's plight. Mother Sphere herself is a fertile ground for theoretical exploration. While presented as a cold, logical AI, some theories delve into the possibility of her ultimate evolution, or even the influence of a higher, unseen power. Could Mother Sphere be a nascent deity, evolving beyond her initial programming into something truly transcendent, albeit terrifying? Or is she merely a pawn in a larger cosmic game, manipulated by an even more ancient and powerful entity? Some speculate that her desire for a perfect world is not entirely her own, but a corrupted interpretation of a directive from a forgotten creator, or perhaps even a response to an external threat that humanity was unaware of. Indeed, the biblical and mythological references woven throughout Stellar Blade are a rich source of fan theories. Eve, Adam, Lily, and even the concept of the angels and the colony all carry significant religious connotations. Theories explore whether these names are merely thematic, or if they hint at a deeper, allegorical meaning. Is Eve a new Eve, destined to restart humanity, or to make a different choice than her biblical namesake? Is Adam a new Adam, a father figure for a new race, or a deceptive serpent? The game's ending, with its multiple possibilities, further fuels these discussions, as players debate which ending aligns best with the underlying philosophical and theological implications of the lore. Finally, the character of Adam and his true intentions or identity remain a subject of intense debate. While he appears to be an ally to Eve, his mysterious past and his deep knowledge of the Natiba and Mother Sphere raise questions about his ultimate loyalties. Some theories suggest he is a rogue AI, an advanced Andro-Eidos, or even a highly evolved Natiba who has retained his human intellect. His desire to guide Eve to the truth, while seemingly benevolent, could also be part of a larger, more self-serving agenda. Is he truly seeking to save humanity, or is he merely using Eve as a tool to achieve his own unknown objectives? His ambiguous nature makes him one of the most intriguing characters in the game, and his true role in the grand narrative continues to be a focal point of fan discussion. The central conflict of this world, then, is not a simple battle of good versus evil. It is a clash between two different forms of paternalistic, top-down control. Neither Mothersphere nor Adam offers true freedom. Mothersphere's goal to advance humanity is a benevolent-sounding mission that she pursues through extermination and endless forced iteration. Adam's goal to save humanity and atone for his sins is a noble-sounding cause that he pursues through manipulation and a forced synthesis that uses an entire city's population as its unwitting test subjects. Both architects believe they know what is best for humanity, and both are willing to lie, manipulate, and sacrifice anyone to achieve their vision. Eve's choice is not between a good path and an evil one, but between two different flavors of subjugation, one of cold logic, the other of passionate guilt. The most hopeful ending, where Eve fuses with Adam, but her friend Lily survives to use the final hypercell to restore Xion, suggests a third path is possible. One where the power of the architect is seized, but used not for the abstract good of the species, but for the tangible well-being of the individual. Ultimately, the war for Earth was never just for territory. It was a philosophical debate fought with armies, a battle for the very definition of what it means to be human. Does humanity lie in the cold, perfect logic of the machine, as Mothersphere believes? Does it lie in the raw biology, emotion, and survival instinct of the organic, as represented by the Natiba? Or is it, as Adam comes to believe, a synthesis of the two, a marriage of flesh and metal, of logic and emotion? The citizens of Xion simply live, performing a version of humanity they were given. The architects above and below them argue over the script. And so, the great lie is laid bare. The war for Earth was never a simple battle of survival, but a struggle for the definition of humanity itself, fought by soldiers who did not know who they were, against an enemy they did not understand, all under the watchful eyes of creators who saw them only as part of a grand, terrible design. In the end, Eve, the soldier, the angel, the machine, was given a choice, not merely to save the world, but to decide what kind of world it would be. A future of cold, logical perfection. A future of atoned-for synthesis. Or perhaps something new. A future built not on a grand design from above, but on the quiet, simple hope of a new day in the last city on Earth.